What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. Yesterday we ranked all of the AD carries for the preseason except Sivir, which I actually forgot to include, so my bad. Lucky though, nothing really changed for her. But you all seem to enjoy that, so I thought we could do it for the other roles, starting with my top mid laners rank. Leave a comment or a like on the video to let me know if you want one for every role this week or not. Again, we're going to rank these from 5 stars to 2, depending on how much potential they have right now. I've asked a lot of people, I've been looking at a lot of stats today and watching a few trends, but I guess at the end of the day, they are my opinion. So the first one at number 5 is going to be Ahri. She's very mobile and decent versus assassins because you can charm or you can just ult away. She's kind of super well rounded. It might not be the same at higher ranks of play, but overall she is very, very solid at the moment and you can't really go wrong with her, which is why I'm going to put her at the very top. She also is doing really well at the moment. Masteries, we're going to go 12-18, and remember the fourth line of Frosty now has 3 choices. So Bounty Hunter, which is 7.5% if you kill each enemy champ once. Double-Edged Sword is 5% more damage, but you take 2.5% more. And Battle Chance is a 5% increase over 5 seconds in combat. Now it's the same for AD, that I think Bounty Hunter and Double-Edged Sword are the best. It depends though if you want to take more damage or not, and that's kind of depending on the champion, so I'm going to explain as I go. For items, Morello Luden's Death Cap is still fine, but there is a side note, okay? Just for all of these champions, the builds will most likely stay the same because no item changes for mid, but there is a big but. Zhonya's, Abyssal, and Rylai's are all much better items now if the meta shifts to high damage and assassins, because they give you damage but they help you not die. This is something you're going to have to get used to a lot more now, adapting your build for the game. Rylai's is going to help you with both AD and AP while providing damage and a slow. Abyssal is versus AP, and Zhonya's is versus AD or versus very heavy quick burst, so like a Fizzle or a Cinder ult that you need to dodge. You've not really had to worry about burst as much recently, but now you're going to have to, so these will be your best friends in some of the games. Just bear in mind that you're going to have to add these to some of your normal builds. Anivia is actually the second 5-star champion. This is probably going to catch you a bit by surprise, but so far in pretty much every reason on the first day of this patch, she's doing really well. She's good versus assassins because they have to get close to her, which is exactly what she wants for a combo, right? She's also good versus mages, but she has that egg, so in team fights, like, assassins can't even burst you down. She's basically very hard to focus, but she does a lot if she's left alone, and that's kind of a problem. Like, that is a good thing to have in this meta. Masteries would just be 12-18, probably Double-Edged Sword as well, to be honest, because you can afford to take the extra damage. And items, Rod of Ages, Archangels are 2 semi-defensive but aggressive items. Now, one thing I'm going to mention a lot probably is Rod of Ages is kind of a slow item. It ramps up over the game, and if we see loads of assassins, you might not have time to actually stack it up, but Anivia, I think, is one who still gets away with it. Zhonya's might have to fit in a bit earlier as well, but you're already pretty hard to kill, so you can probably stick to your normal build. Syndra is the last 5-star champion for me, but we have to kind of see because she is top tier, but if assassins really do come back properly, then they're probably going to crap on her. If played correctly though, she is one of the best mage assassins we can actually see. There is one other thing to mention for AP champions mid as well. More of Mortius and Edge of Night are now better, and both of those kind of are your worst nightmares if you're trying to burst someone down. They are better to buy for AD carries especially, so if you are actually going to try and one burst the AD carry, you have to press tab before and see if they have it. If they have it, you have to calculate that into your damage. For Syndra specifically though, Assassin's back is not the best thing, but Poke might be back as well, which means they outrange you and you're kind of screwed. So 12-18 with Double-Edged Sword as well. Morello, Rylai's, like Zhonya's will probably be needed versus like Talon or a Zed, and Abyssal versus a Katarina or a Fizz. Rylai's and one of those will be basically unkillable though with loads of damage, which is a good thing for you. So moving on to 4 stars, these are still very good, but they lack at least one thing really. Annie is the first one, good crowd control and preys on shorter range champions at least. The problem is more if assassins go on her first, and she might have an issue. She's basically very strong, but assassins might push her out a bit. Personally, I would move to Abyssal as well in certain matchups instead of Rod of Ages, because Rod of Ages is kind of slow, but again at the same time, like, Rod is pretty decent in the lane phase. It gives you health back and it's decent laning. The rest of the build is basically going to stay the same. You build for burst, but just have to bear in mind if you're against like a Fizz or a Katarina, you might need an Abyssal. Now we're getting into the rework champions. So Talon is the first of the assassin reworks, and he is the ultimate roamer right now. He does well in the lane phase, he has good damage, but roams behind enemy lanes and dives are just like stupid on him, or invading the enemy jungler even. It's also actually his Q, his jump, it now crits if he's in melee range, so you just wait until Talons actually realize and they flash in, then they use their Q for the extra damage. It's actually insane. Right now they don't really do it, but when they figure that out, we're all going to be in a bit of trouble. Masteries 12-18, I would go Bounty Hunter actually, because you're roaming, so you're going to get the percentage stacks anyway. Items, Moby Boots most likely for the parkour super roams. Dustblade is overpowered. Ideally you auto attack for the true damage, you then ultimate, then auto again for about 400 true damage in a fight. That's kind of fun, right? It's ridiculous, but Ghostblade, Tiamat, Black Cleaver as well. Armor Pen is not as good early, so you roam to find low armor targets. Katarina is a second of the bigger reworks, I guess, and there is potential with Kat, like, to be off the charts right now. I'm gonna go ahead and say she probably sucks for the first week or two, but seriously, if you learn her and learn how to use her daggers, she does insane amount of damage, and she is so hard to lock down and control. I think she's like the ultimate skill champ at the moment in the game. Like, you've seen some on the PvE which suck ass and some that absolutely crush. 12-18 though, again bounty hunter because you should be roaming so you get the percentage sacks, and Abyssal is super good in this meta. Luden, Zhonya's death cap as well. If you play it right, actually, you're more slippery now than I think you were before, so you can get away with a more damage heavy build. Now Fizz, another one, not that much has changed, but he is really good at killing mages right now. If you're a mobile, you can land a longer range ultimate for more damage and then bash them super hard with that new W. The new W, by the way, if you've been attacking them for like 2 seconds and then you use the W, it will do 300% damage. It also resets your auto. It's pretty nuts, and I think you're kind of more well-rounded now. Mastery is 12-18 with assassin and double-edged sword, and items Abyssal Lichbane combo is pretty nuts. That is what most people are doing on the PvE. Zhonya's as well to wait for your cooldown so you can do it. Gunblade was actually one that people picked up because it's even more burst. There are a lot of different options right now, which is partly why I think he's 4 stars. You can adapt to the game very well. You can get crapped on, sure, but like if you play it right and you roam around a lot, I think you can always get fetched. Try as well, by the way, starting Dark Seal and Refillable Potion in an easy matchup. It's actually really good. The last 4-star champion is Orianna though, so the ultimate mage counter. You outrange and you outtrade most mages, and you offer utility, poke, and a good team fight. She does struggle versus like high range poke or assassins though, so yes, like while she's super good, you have to be careful with certain matchups, I think. 12-18 and bounty hunter, in my opinion, you can take double-edged sword, but like I don't know if you really need to, and against mages maybe, but late game you're already quite fragile, so I don't want to take any more damage. Items, Rylai's is going to be overpowered this patch. Morello first normally though. Abyssal and Zhonya's will be your best friends, so adding one of those to Rylai's. Remember as well, on Orianna, don't build more than 2 kind of defensive items, so like Rylai's and Zhonya's, not like Rylai's, Zhonya's, and Abyssal, because you'll do no damage. Moving on to 3 stars, Zed is the first one. This is only for solo queue, right? And to be honest, I'm not even sure if this will be the same in a week or 2. Tanks are going to come back if Zed gets too popular, but Dustblade is so good on him. It adds so much damage now. You can roam well, you can punish mages, I think, harder now with the Dustblade rush. Like, sure, Armor Pen now scales into the game, but the true damage from the Dustblade kind of makes up for it. Your passive stealing 15% of the target's total AD when you kill someone is pretty nuts late game, actually. You can only do it from one person, but imagine killing the enemy AD. So 12-18 with double-edged sword, and just something to bear in mind as well, Edge of Night plus more Mount Mortius is so overpowered versus AP heavy teams. Edge of Night and more is actually the same for Talon, pretty much the same for any assassin. It's just really good. It shuts down any kind of AP assassin. Dustblade, Ghostblade, Black Cleaver, same style. You just do slightly different things than before, I guess. The thing is, like, your passive and the Dustblade true damage is a ton of damage with just one auto in a combo. 3 stars is basically like average, I guess. Still very good, but they kind of have some issues. Victor is going to be the next one, though. And assassins, especially like Fizz, Syndra, Ari, for example, any form of poke, kind of bone Victor, and they are all 5 or 4 stars at the moment. Logically, it's just like he can't really be higher than 3, to be honest. He's still good control mage, but going to be punished harder now, I think. One good thing is you're pretty tanky anyway, and you can kind of build whatever you like. Like, I would upgrade to full, then Rylai's, early Negatron if you need it against someone like Fizz and turn it into an Abyssal eventually. Or obviously Armguard and Zhonya's, but I don't think the build actually changes too much for Victor. He's still just a solid mage. Vel'Koz, I might be being too safe with this one. I think actually he could be 4 stars. He's very good poke and burst. In theory, can nail mages and assassins from far away, but he is immobile, super low health, and perfect prey if an assassin gets fed. I'd go 12-18 with double-edged sword here because you should have the range to stay back. And items, just a quick note, like Morello and Luden's might be too risky in some matchups now, so keep that in mind. Rylai's and Zhonya's would be my go-to defensive items. Rylai's first, Zhonya's if you need it. Abyssal sucks so much arse on these champions because you are high range and you're not really going to use it. Lux is basically the same as Vel'Koz, still good, but at least at the start of the preseason, and with how good Dustblade is, I think you might find yourself being focused super hard by the jungler and the mid lane. And remember, it's not a 1v1 lane, the jungler is going to impact it. 12-18 with probably Bounty Hunter, actually. Lux autos more, so I would say Bounty Hunter, but you can go double-edged sword if you want to. The item is the same deal with Vel'Koz, right? Morello Luden's might be too risky in some matchups now. Rylai's first, Zhonya's if you can't avoid the burst, and Abyssal does suck. Now, Twisted Fate is the other one because he is a roam god and he's still very effective, and he's good at snowboarding other lanes and doesn't have to play for his lane fate, which helps when so many dominant laners are around now. If you've realized, like, pretty much everyone I've talked about so far is actually pretty good in their lane phase, and it's still that problem of like, what do you do if a Fizz ults you, for example? That's what's holding Twisted Fate back. Masteries, I go 12-18 with Bounty Hunter because you're roaming so much, and personally, actually, I would go with the 5% extra cooldown from your runes because legit, all you want to do is roam as much as possible. Your lane sucks more now. Rod of Ages also might be too slow for Twisted Fate. If assassins come back, the game's going to speed up, and it may be like a Zhonya or Abyssal rush into Lichbane. Like, it's not ideal, but you have to keep up with the quicker scaling picks now. Xerath is the same as Lux and Vel'Koz. Genuinely, I think Poke is very good right now and can spank mages, not in lane, but in teamfights you massively outrange them. Right now though, like while the meta is kind of spiraling a little bit and junglers are moving to damage as well for now with the new Duskblade, you might have a really rough lane phase. Masteries will be 18-12 or actually 12-18 with double-edged sword because you are again high range. Deathfire Touch is definitely more of a late game choice. I think Thunderlords is more for the lane, and now that you have even less chance to do much early versus assassins, I think picking a scaling keystone is a good idea. Items same as Lux and Vel'Koz in easier matchups. Morello and Ludens is good. Normally I go Glass Cannon, but I actually think now at least Rylai's will be needed, maybe even Zhonya's. Finally, we're on to 2 stars, which is still good, but very obvious problems in my opinion. You wouldn't want to pick these every single game. Ryze is the first one. I think he's actually one of the best mid laners once he's mastered, but honestly, this meta just does not look that good for him right now. Burst assassins, like, they suck. High pressure mages like Ori, that sucks too. If he could survive the lane phase and like farm, he'd be super solid though. I would go Storm Raiders still, or with probably Bounty Hunter or Battle Trance, actually. Short range, so ideally you don't need the double-edged sword. I think Rod of Ages might be too slow actually, so one thing I'm going to try is tier Morello, Rylai's Archangels. It gets you into the game quicker. I know Rod of Ages is so good on Ryze, but like that's not going to help you if a talent is roaming the entire game and screwing you. Now Cassiopeia, again, meta is not that good for her at the moment, and she is a good laner, I guess. That kind of keeps her in the top 15. Poke honestly does suck for Cassiopeia though, and very mobile mages as well. Team fights are the bigger issue for me though, because it's not that easy to have an impact anymore. Masteries will be 18-12 Deathfire Touch with double-edged sword. Spellvamp, in my opinion, you can get away with the extra damage from double-edged sword. Morello, Rylai's Archangels would be most games. Abyssal would be okay versus someone like Fizz, but maybe just a Zhonya would be better to dodge the damage in the first place. Rylai's makes you very tanky though, so you might not even need it to be honest. But just before we end this, I have one more. What about LeBlanc? I don't actually know where to put her, to be honest. Like, I think she does belong in the top 15, but I have not seen that much of her on the PB, and it was very hit and miss when I did see her. I think she should fit into tier 3 somewhere, at least in this general meta. She does kind of suit it, and unless she's a ton weaker, then that's where I place her for now, but we're gonna have to see before I do. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching if you're still here. If you want me to do these for other roles, let me know in the comments, and for now, let's go to the robots.